Meeting to order. If everyone can please rise for a moment of reflection and the Pledge of Allegiance. And I actually will request a moment of silence in honor of Allie Hill. Thank you.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen? Here. Mrs. Hoover? Here. Mr. Probbins? Mrs. Bowling? Here. Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Girton?
Here.
Ms. Sullivan? Here.
We do have 6 members present this evening. Just a reminder with that, or anything to suspend the rules and have all 3 readings, we would need everyone present in order to accomplish that task. Moving on to amendment of agenda, and we do have 4 items. The removals, Law and Ordinance Committee for May 11th, Law and Ordinance Committee for May 27th, and engagement for June the 2nd. We do have 1 item to add, and that will be under introductory readings of ordinances and resolutions. So that will be N5, and that is a resolution regarding June as Pride Month in the city of Norwood. Mrs. Bowling.
I move that we amend the agenda as stated.
Motion by Mrs. Bowling to amend the agenda as stated. Mr. Garden.
Second the motion.
Seconded by Mr. Garden. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Girton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Next item on the agenda, we have minutes of a previous meeting. Those are the minutes from May 26th, 2026 regular meeting. Mr. Garden.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes as if read.
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Hoover. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Girton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. And we will move on to requests to address council. We do have several that were submitted online, so I will go ahead and we will get those first. The first was Laura Ryan. If you can state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes to address council.
Dear council members, my name is Laura Ryan. I've lived in Norwood most of my life. My family roots go back 3 generations. I love Norwood, and it's why I came back after finishing school. This is my hometown. Over the years, I have lived on Section, Floral, South Jefferson, Quatman, Wesley, and now Rhonda. Rhonda is a wonderful neighborhood with great people, strong sense of community. The roads, however, tell a different story. Recently, someone reported a condition on our street. A crew came out, filled the pothole without asphalt, patted it down with a shovel. When someone asked, "Shouldn't you tamp that down?" the response was, "We forgot the tamper at the shop." At first, I thought it was a joke. Unfortunately, the potholes were not. After reviewing street reports and the pavement plans that was at the Monday meeting, I have concerns about paving priorities are determined. From the perspective of Rhonda residents, it feels like some streets receive attention while others are left behind. To my knowledge, Rhonda Avenue has not been fully paved in 30 years. Our street is not complicated, but large tree roots have damaged the pavement and sidewalks, creating a rough and uneven surface. Residents experience vehicle damage, including tire suspension issues simply driving on our streets. Rhonda Avenue also lacks curb on both sides. Unlike many streets in Norwood, we do not have curbs or proper drainage infrastructure. Water runs off to contribute the erosion of further roadway deterioration. This should be considered when evaluating paving priorities. I am also concerned about the proposed 10 mil levy. As residents, to support additional funding is a significant request, and I believe voters deserve a clear understanding of how these funds will be used. Before asking taxpayers for more money, I would like to see a detailed outline, specific project priority, timeline, and measurable goals. I would also encourage cities to aggressively pursue grants, foundation funding, and outside resources that may be available for infrastructure improvements. Residents want to know that every effort has been made to secure external funding and maximize existing resources before additional tax burdens are placed on homeowners. I'm asking transparency, fairness, and accountability. I would like to see review of paving history throughout our city, a clear explanation of how streets are selected for improvement, and a long-term plan that addresses the needs of all neighborhoods. The residents of Rhonda Avenue pay taxes for our properties and contributes to the community, just like every other neighborhood. We are not asking for special treatment. We are simply asking for the same consideration and investment that other streets receive. I love Norwood, and I want to continue calling it home. I hope the city will make Rhonda Avenue a priority for the other decade passes, provide residents with a clear vision on how our infrastructure challenges will be addressed. I have one other concern. In the condition of the roads on Rhonda, which besides the roads on Rhonda, I would also like council to consider safety concerns on Cathedral and other streets that have two-sided parking, and Varlam, in which vehicles park on both sides of the street. There often is very little room for traffic to pass safely. I have personally experienced several near collisions because of the limited space, because people drive so fast. I would like the city to review whether current parking practices are creating safety hazards, and whether solutions should be considered to improve visibility and traffic flow, or ask residents to park in their driveways or in their garages. That's all I have.
Thank you. Our next request to address council is Brandon Tolstoy. All right, that one was submitted online. Then our next request to address council is Virginia Patterson.
Hello, good evening, Norwood City Council. Good news. We are about to have our 5th annual Norwood Juneteenth celebration. It will still remain at New Vision Missionary Baptist Church. However, this year, new additions that we had is I was able to get 2 more churches involved with Juneteenth this year. So we have Sunrise Presbyterian Church, which is up on Indian Mound Avenue, and then we have Kingdom of God Church, which is on South Madison. We are going to have a block party this year. The Soul Food Cafe will start at noon. At 12:30, we will do the commemoration of Juneteenth and acknowledgement of veterans. And then we will, from 1 to 4, have a family-friendly block party behind New Vision Missionary Baptist Church, Son of God Church, and Sunrise Presbyterian Church have also donated free food for the kids. There's also a Soul Food Cafe that starts at noon, and that is the church's annual fundraiser. And it was very successful last year. I hope the citizens that are watching will consider either attending or purchasing a meal from the Soul Food Cafe to support the church. Just a very special thank you to New Vision Visionary Baptist Church, who has been hosting Norwood Juneteenth, which is Bishop Stanton Thomas. We also have at Juneteenth this year from Sunrise Presbyterian Church, Reverend Dr. Ebenezer Narth Ibula. And then from Kingdom of God, we have Senior Pastor Jeffrey and Ingrid Sandage. So I'm very excited about this upcoming event this Saturday. I hope you will join us. And also I want to do a special thank you to the City of Norwood administration and the Norwood Fire Department. They will come in the afternoon as well with the fire truck for the kids to entertain. I thank you for the ongoing support from Norwood City Council and continuing to have Juneteenth as a holiday in the city of Norwood. And thank you for Public Works for helping with the block party and police department for putting up the signs for the block party for the street. So that is it. So thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Hoover.
Do you have flyers, Ms. Patterson?
I'm sorry.
Do you have flyers?
I have them at home. I did not bring them with me
That's
today
fine.
because I was going to post them up in the businesses around Norwood.
Oh, good, thank you. I posted on social media.
Did you?
but-
Okay, thank you.
Our next request to address council is Bishop Sonny James.
Greetings, everyone. I rushed from doing some work on our other property across town, but I'm glad that I was able to make it for many reasons. Recently, Norwood suffered devastation that has still just reeked through our community. The heartfelt support that has gone out to the family.
It sounds like you're carrying a heavy burden. Managing progress while processing
What
the
kind of
devastation that happened. I'm glad you
AI freaky stuff is that?
I will have to
But-
call your phone out of order.
Yes, thank you, sir. So will I. I was so fortunate to pray on the site with some of her best friends and family, and just truly thank God for the outpour of support from Norwoodians. At the end of the day, guys, we don't always agree, but certain things do more to bring us together than divide us. And it is my prayer that as we see the seriousness and the sad emotions that people feel from all across the aisles, my prayer is that we allow God to bring peace upon all of us, that we can put a lot of our differences behind us. As my organization focuses a lot on my events called Come Together, if you just look in the media, we are still suffering, not just in Norwood, but across our city, across our state. And so we will be stepping up our efforts to host our events called Come Together. And I'm so amazed to see the care and concern. Soon you'll be seeing us ramp up Project Safer Cities. Listen, last time I checked, when a young boy was found shot, the doctors didn't rush and say, "Hey, kid, before I operate, are you Republican or Democrat?" None of the family members at that restaurant cared if the outpour came from red or blue. Neighbors, peers, even our naysayers, let's come together. Let's put aside our differences. And let us make sure that we remember to honor each other while we still have each other. My prayer, and I'm willing to lead the bunch. I know some of you might say, "Oh, okay, here comes Bishop. What did we do wrong? What is he going to yell at us about this time?" Well, it's not yelling at you, it's yelling at myself. What can I do better? What can I do more of? What stones am I leaving unturned? Lives are at stake, folks. Norwood, as you all know, I say it's the best community across the world. We still have our challenges. But if we come together and if we put our differences aside, like for instance, I was super mad at our council members. I mean, angry as, oh my goodness. You know, my 8th grade daughter being celebrated by all of the media outlets and folks in the state, Fox News, everybody's calling us to get a piece of the story. And I was super angry at my peers, not just going up to her and say, hey, Sunny Renee, you're doing great. And just to report, in college, as an 8th grader, she has straight A's. So maybe the next time you see her, you know, root her on and say, hey, Sunny Renee, let's go for it. And as we announce Juneteenth, you know, if we're going to celebrate the greatness of our culture and history, let us also learn to celebrate the current history being made. Guys, I believe we can do it. And I'm willing to partner and walk with you every step of the way to show just how awesome Norwood is. But it's going to have to come with some changes. And I believe God set us in motion at such a time as this to make those changes reality. So I'm praying for each and every one of you. I'm praying for us. And let us continue to pray for the families that aren't doing as well as us. God bless you all. And remember, we're in the best community in the country.
Thank you. Moving on to the agenda, we do have one special presentation this evening, and that is Hamilton County Commissioner Denise Driehaus. Commissioner Driehaus, welcome.
Thank you.
Council has set a time limit of 15 minutes for special
Oh,
presentations.
no, I was thinking 5.
Okay.
I keep asking Gavin, my chief of staff is with me, and I said, did I do that in 5? Did I get that in 5? I'm shooting for 5. So,
All right. That
I
works.
accept the challenge. So thank you for allowing me to come in front of you. This is a portion of my 49 and 49. So I'm going to visit all 49 jurisdictions. I've done this twice already. This is my 3rd time out. And so many of you have changed, and some of our services and opportunities to partner have changed. And so I'm trying to provide an update. So I've provided a menu of opportunity that you've got in front of you. It is just what it says. A menu of opportunity to partner with the county, whether it's something like fire hydrant maintenance or buying salt together or picking up scrap tires. It could be as basic as that, something that all the residents really care about. But we've got other things in here related to small business. We've got quite a bit in here related to economic development. I will say that Norwood has done quite a good job of partnering with the county, and it only works when we provide the resources and you apply for the resources. It's the only way it works is when we've got the symbiotic relationship. But Norwood, over the past 5 years or so, has partnered with the county to the tune of $4.3 million. So that's the highest so far, I must say, and I've been to 5 or 6 other communities. So congratulations to Norwood. I don't know who writes the grants and pays attention to these things, but you're pulling in grants related to recycling, road improvements. The big one is stormwater. We were just out, the mayor and I and some of you, 2.3 million that the county was able to provide by way of stormwater relief. And I was delighted to do that. This is the kind of stuff that really matters, right? We're sewers and we're stormwater. I mean, talk about the big stuff and that's great, but this is the stuff that really matters. So anyways, glad to be in partnership with you. Also on the menu, you will find contact information for all 3 county commissioners. So feel free to reach out to myself in particular, since I'm the one making the offer. But my door is always open, and I'm always happy to try to be helpful. The other thing you'll see on the back is the Office of Addiction Response. This is new since last time I was here. You all, just like every other community in Hamilton County, are getting a direct allocation through the opioid settlement dollars. These dollars are meant to save lives, get people into treatment and long-term recovery in all of our communities. If you find, and I don't know if you will, because you're a little bit bigger than some of the others, if you find that you would rather provide that funding back to the county so we can use it amongst a larger pot, other communities are doing this because the administrative burden is something for some of the communities. And then we are able to maximize what we are doing by way of prevention, treatment. We're talking about recovery-friendly workplaces. We're doing all kinds of stuff with these dollars. So Megan Guthrie is the contact there. So if you'd like more information, feel free to reach. She does know I'm doing this. So feel free to reach out to her, and she'll be happy to provide information related to the work that's going on in the county and make a decision whether or not you want to participate with us or continue to do what you're already doing here in Norwood. Either way is great. Well, now, all right, so I've got till 10, right? All right, I gotta move along. All right, so a couple of other things. One is related to the Commission on Women and Girls. Kelsey Goins was a member of the Commission on Women and Girls, fantastic member. And so I just want to let you know that the application period is open right now for the Commission on Women and Girls. We will be accepting 10 new women and 10 new students. These girls are generally sophomores or juniors in high school. If you know of any girls that would like to apply, please encourage them to do that. Any kids that are like civic minded or just curious about how government works, this is a great opportunity to participate in an organization. We meet once a month on Saturdays. It's volunteer, but they learn a lot and they're able to network with really fantastic individuals like your clerk of courts. So that's open for about 30 days. So look for that on our website. Also, want to note that we've opened our central campus. So we bought the Mercy building up in Bonds Hill / Norwood. It's right in this area, to try to centralize some of the services that we provide. Parking downtown is a hassle, as you may or may not know. So we've got a lot of departments. I'm going to list them off real quick. Public Health, Veteran Services Commission, the Jobs and Family Services, Addiction Response, our DD Department, and Environmental Services are all housed in one place. The county is saving money by doing this because we're disposing of a bunch of different buildings. And this building has 1,000 free parking spots. So you cannot go wrong if you're coming for a county service over at the central campus. So delighted to be in your neck of the woods providing services to our citizens. And then lastly, I wanted to alert you to the fact that the Children's Services Levy is up for to go on the ballot this year. We got a recommendation from the Tax Levy Review Committee. They are recommending an increase to that levy. The primary purpose for the increase is, even though there are more kids coming into our care, think about kinship care, adoptive care, foster care, the needs of these kids is going up exponentially. And so the cost is going up exponentially. And so we are no longer able to provide the services with the revenues that we have had in the past. So they've requested that we go on for an increase. We have not decided as a county commission. We will be holding 3 public hearings. Please attend or provide input if you'd like. And then we will make a decision after that as to what we put on the ballot, because ultimately the citizens will decide what they want to do by way of children's services. But we're trying to be very careful to balance property tax strains on our citizens with the needs of kids, just trying to keep kids safe in our community. So that's what I've got. I was close. I was a little over. You know how that is. You can't even say your name in 5 minutes. Anyways, so happy to field any questions if you have them. And if you don't, I'm just grateful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
I'm going to hang around, and Gavin's going to hang around too. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the agenda, we have the reports of standing committees. The first is Streets, Housing, and Health from May 7th, 2026. Mrs. Hoover.
Thank you, sir. To the Honorable Council of the City of Norwood, Ohio, we, your Streets, Housing, and Health Committee, to whom was referred Streets, Housing, and Health Issues. The Norwood Housing and Health Committee had a presentation by GDP Group on the road pavement and curb condition study that we were contracted to provide. Also present was Safety Service Director Noah Powers, Community Development Director Mike Skelly, and Budget Director Clint Zimmerman. The study found most local roads averaging a PCI of 44, which is poor condition, with spending scenarios ranging from $1 million per year to merely stabilized road conditions, $2 million for slight improvement, and $3 million for meaningful gains over 5 years. Financing relies heavily on OPWC 1% interest loans, typically 50% grant, 50% loan over 30 years. the permissive motor vehicle tax, and various federal and state programs, with the city's fiscal emergency status currently blocking access to bond financing. Council discussed a potential 1 Mill Street levy generating approximately $615,000 annually, though members noted this figure is modest relative to project costs. For context, a single street like South Jefferson runs $2.1 million for a 1/3 of a mile. There was additional debate whether cannabis tax revenue should be directed entirely to streets or split with parks and other amenities. Next steps include a special committee of the whole meeting on May 19th for further council review, followed by a public open house, while staff will explore creating a sweet spot list of streets where road condition, underground utility status, and funding eligibility align for maximum cost effectiveness. Respectively submitted, Susan Hoover, Chairperson, Mrs. Emily Franzen, Mr. John Moore, and Ms. Danielle Sullivan.
Thank you. Mrs. Bowling.
I move that we accept the committee report.
Motion by Mrs. Bowling to accept the committee report. Mrs. Franzen.
I second.
Seconded by Mrs. Franzen. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Next item is a committee of the whole report from May 19th. To the Honorable Council of the City of Norwood, Ohio, we, your committee of the whole, to whom was referred Pavement and Curbs Condition Rating Survey, beg leave to submit the following report. Scott Jaffe and Mike Hobbs, both with the GPD Group, shared a presentation pertaining to the City of Norwood's 2025 Road Pavement and Curb Condition Rating Study. They discussed the various condition of Norwood streets and the potential cost for street maintenance, reconstruction, resurfacing, and rehabilitation. Minutes and the plan presented are attached. Respectfully submitted, Joe Gears, Chairperson, Mr. Provins, Mrs. Hoover, Mr. Moore, Mrs. Franzen, Mrs. Bowling, and Mr. Gerton. Mr. Gerton.
Make a motion to accept the committee report?
Motion by Mr. Gerton to accept the committee report. Mrs. Hoover.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Hoover. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. The next item is a committee of the whole report from June 2nd. To the Honorable Council of the City of Norwood, Ohio, we, your committee of the whole, to whom was referred state excise tax on adult use cannabis and street levy millage, beg leave to submit the following report. With regard to the state excise tax on adult use cannabis, consensus was not reached on the preferred split of funds between streets and parks/beautification. This item will remain in committee for further discussion. Based on discussion pertaining to the street levy millage, Mr. Gears sent an email to the law director requesting a resolution be drafted for the council meeting for a 2 mil street levy for the November 3rd, 2026 ballot/election. Minutes are attached. Respectfully submitted, Joe Gears, Chairperson, Mrs. Hoover, Mr. Moore, Ms. Sullivan, Mrs. Franzen, Mrs. Bowling, and Mr. Gerton. Mrs. Hoover.
I move we accept the committee report.
Motion by Mrs. Hoover to accept the committee report. Mr. Moore.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Moore. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have administration reports. Mayor Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll try to stand to the 5 minutes. I really won't try, but I probably will. A couple of things. Commissioner Dreehouse was talking about all these different menu of opportunities. And as I read through this menu of opportunities, we take advantage of a lot of it. She mentioned the funding, but we take advantage of a lot of these different services. One of the first things I started 7 years ago was really pushing to make sure that we took advantage of the potential for consolidation of services and saving the city money. The first year budget that we had in place for the police dispatch was, it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money, and we decided to go to Hamilton County, and we got better service, and clearly we took advantage of that. We utilized the Alloy Group. We utilize the planning and development group some. We've got the purchasing department that we're utilizing some. I mean, if you look at the street sweeper that we just approved, that came off the state bid list, but that's through purchasing projects. You know, even like when you talk about addiction response, when you look at the heroin task force and some of these others. I mean, on the heroin task force, we have my sister, who was a police officer in Springfield Township, who's retired, who's a member of the heroin task force. Rod Housley, who was a Hamilton County police officer that was our school resource officer here and retired from Hamilton County and is now working there, but grew up in Norwood. He's a Norwood guy who graduated from Norwood High School. And then Ron Murphy, our police officer, who retired from here and works with the heroin task force also. So, and even I think the commander of the heroin task force is one of the Wallaces, Ron Wallace or Richie Wallace. He'll get on me about saying that, but Richie Wallace is a Norwood guy, born and bred, and worked for the city and worked for Amberley. So we definitely take care of, Hamilton County takes care of us. And I would say that we have a great relationship with all three of the current commissioners, and we've been very supportive of what they're trying to get done and accomplish, and they've been very supportive of us. So it's been a very symbiotic relationship, and we really appreciate all that you've done for us here, and we'll continue to take advantage of what we can. You know, I'm not going to make any excuses or but we've been very successful in working with them. The swim pool's open. If you haven't been there, there's some new attractions at the swim pool, so stop by and check out the swim pool, take a dip. It's beautiful. The street sweeper, I think the street sweeper has arrived, but they're doing some testing, much like the fire department, and you've seen the new ladder trucks. I'm sure some of you have seen it out on the street. They're doing some training and getting that ready to go. We have the beautification banner is on the front of City Hall, hopefully piquing some people's interest into doing those painting projects now and beautifying what they've got going on. We'll have plants going on out in front of City Hall here soon, and we'll get some of the color out in front. And then we're working in all the parks. I think all of you, probably most of you that have been in one of the parks have seen some of the different changes, but the dog park is in at Burwood Park, although they're working on signage there. I think the fencing and everything's in place there. They're painting and touching up the restrooms and taking care of things like that. So really trying to get the place looking beautiful. The benches at Victory Park, when we were there Memorial Day, we looked at them previous to that and said, well, there can be some work done. There were some different veterans that were there during the celebration that said, hey, why don't we replace some of these park benches? So we've got new park benches that'll be installed in there soon. And I think, quite frankly, the park looked pretty darn good for that, but it'll even look better. Chief Sumner, the police chief, is retired now, and the new chief is in place, and I think hit the ground running and doing a great job for us. The bus stops on Montgomery Road are being completed now, so that's putting the benches in so it'll be comfortable, and hopefully, in the future, maybe sometime in my life, we won't see shopping carts that are flipped over on the side so people can sit down, which was always looked terrible, and we've got garbage cans and all the different things that'll go in there to keep that looking good. So that's about it for my report. That probably is less than 5 minutes, I think, wasn't it? I don't know. It wasn't? Dang on it, Denise. All right, well, that's all I had. If you have any questions.
All right, any questions for Mayor Schneider? I do have one regarding Robertson Avenue. I know we have detour signs that are up. Are you able to speak to how long that detour will take place and if it is limited to business hours or?
Well, when they have them up, they'll have them up for a short time. I mean, typically they're only approved for 2 weeks at a time.
Okay.
So it should not be that long, but it's all pavement and, infrastructure improvements we're trying to make.
Right.
I know that, sorry if I want to piggyback on sort of the traffic stuff. The traffic light at Williams and Floral is on a blinking red. And part of that is we've had a lot of trouble with that lighting system, but part of that is, I think, looking at, is that light really necessary in that area? Could it go to a four-way stop and will traffic flow right? Is it still safe? If you look at the flow of traffic on Montgomery Road with all the changes, with all the improvements that we've made there, remember that was a pedestrian safety project. So we've bumped out curbs and we've done a lot of changes there. What we also have seen is it flows a lot better. It's a much more even flow, and people are able to get up and down Montgomery Road very easily. So, again, I tell everybody, try to staff the residential streets, try to use those main thoroughfares. And we've repaved most of the main thoroughfares to get you back into the areas quickly and on smooth surfaces. So keep that in mind. And if you can, use Montgomery Road. Go up 2 blocks and go to Montgomery Road instead of running 8 or 10 blocks over the other direction and sort of weaving through all the residential areas. Sorry.
It's all right. That was your second 5 minutes. Any questions for Mayor Snyder? All right. Mr. Miracle.
Thank you, Mr. President. The tax budget is complete. We have submitted that to the Finance Committee for review. Also submitted that to Anna Mary Thomas, Auditor State, our supervisor. We will have a public hearing on the 23rd and have the appropriate resolution that evening as well for council's consideration. Also, Deputy Auditor Kim Coffey and myself, we walked over to the Board of Elections last week, and we took all the necessary documents that are required by the Board of Elections, which they were very kind to us and very knowledgeable, and they date and time stamped our resolution. So we have that right here if anyone wants to take a look at that. So we've completed everything that we needed to do to have that on the ballot in November. Industrial appraisal, we were shooting to have that done by the first week or so in June. They're running a little behind. I've been in contact with them. We hope to have that soon. As soon as I get that, I'll be sharing that with council as well. So look forward to seeing that. As you know, that's an appraisal of all of our capital assets. So we're excited to see that. Also, the policies, we were working with Shared Resource Center, and we had developed the policies that the report on accounting methods requires. Submitted those about 3 weeks ago to Anna Mary, waiting to hear back from her. I did get an email from her just a few days ago that she had not started looking at those yet, but she's going to start on that soon. So once we get those back from her, then we're going to be coming to council with those for council to review as well. And then lastly, sent an email out to council and to Mr. Moore, our law director. We have a solicitor's license that needs some updating. If you go onto some other city websites, they have it online. It's really kind of nice. We were inundated with license requests last week. I think we had like 35 plus. So anyone that's going to be knocking on your door in the city of Norwood should have a solicitor's license, and you can certainly ask for that to see that. So it's a kind of a process that we'd like to have reviewed by council and by the law department and see if we can't make this a little more streamlined. So I think I gave a copy to Mr. Gurton tonight as well. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Miracle? All right, Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did have a few things. First, I would like to ask everyone to keep Tim Gary in your thoughts and prayers. He's had some serious health problems and is not currently in the office. Along those lines, thank you for approving the authority to have 2 assistant law directors in the city of Norwood, and I'd like to ask Philip to come up. This is our new will be the sole new assistant law director, Philip Brandywee, who comes to us from the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office and private practice before that. He's been here he started on Thursday. And I think it's going pretty well. He's got this, I think, a fantastic attitude. I don't know if, Philip, you wanted to say a couple things
yes,
so everybody sees your face. And
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to work with Norwood and all City Hall and council and the administration as well. And I'm looking forward to meeting everybody that I haven't already met. And it's a wonderful opportunity, and I'm very much glad I took it. And it's been great so far. So thank you. Any questions for me?
We will have plenty of.
All right. All right. Well, I look forward to it.
If I may, and not at the risk of, sound like an interview question, just curious, like what attracted you to Norwood and the opportunity?
Well, at the prosecutor's office, I was greatly respected the Norwood police officers. I worked a lot of them with them in municipal court and juvenile court, and they were always very professional. They got all their evidence usually on time, which for some of the police departments is very hard. I'm not going to name names, but yes. So that's one of the great things about it. I respect this community, and
Thank you.
Any other questions?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Mr. Moore?
yeah, if you have questions and you send them to, you can copy me on Philip. Philip he comes with a litigation background, but there's so many things that come across our desk that he likely doesn't have much experience with. So make sure you copy me too. So we're working on it. We're getting him. There's a huge learning curve in this office. It was for me. There was for every one of my predecessors, all the things. And I just want to mention very quickly the kind of curveball we get. Apparently, last year, the state passed amendments to Ohio Revised Code 9.66. Now, this section of the code deals with if you're applying for economic development assistance from, counties, cities, states, whatever it is, you have to, it's about certifying that you don't owe anybody any money and that everything in your application is true. But in this amendment, and it apparently most everybody missed it. I didn't know about it. The Ohio Municipal League kind of sent out an email last week. Hey, this is something that's come up that is sprinkled down us. There's a provision in this that seems to deal with public records. It's not in the section of the code that deals with public records, but they added a new subsection D, and there's a way to read this. And just, the effective date is March 20th. And so there's a way to read this that says any document, any information about or from an entity or a person who's applying for economic assistance, economic development assistance. So that for us, primarily would be CRAs and TIFs, that all of their information is confidential. And that is not only when they're applying, but when you're evaluating whether they're in compliance. And so we have this every summer. The Tax Incentive Review Commission meets, or council, I can't remember which, and meets and reviews our CRA, our current commercial CRAs, and says, okay, have they met the employment goals? Is it still owned by the same people? Are they meeting all the things that need to be done? And they send recommendations to council. We have revoked some of them, we've amended some of them, but that process seems to be the way this kind of seems to read, that is now all confidential. And that means that they may have to have executive sessions to actually discuss the things. It may mean that when they send their report, that will be a confidential matter. And there's more to it than just a violation of is whether or not this is a public record. So if people request this, do we have to submit this? If you reveal confidential information, that's a crime. And so any one of us sitting at these chairs up here, if we get information from somebody and, or whether they're part of evaluating whether they're in compliance or whether they're an applicant, and you reveal that information to anybody else, then that potentially could be a crime. They're apparently like the Cleveland County, the county prosecutor up in Cleveland is like, I'm not going to prosecute people for that. But it is. So this is the thing, and I'm still I think the whole state's trying to figure out what exactly this means and how we deal with it. But for right now, what I would ask is that if you receive anything, I don't think we have anything pending. I don't think there's anybody really applying at this point that would come to council. But if anything does happen and it comes in, keep it confidential. And that includes the name of the company. That includes anything about the company, what they're planning to do. If they're going to ask for CRA or TIF, I just want you to keep that confidential and assume that's not a public record. Hopefully the state's going to straighten this out, the state legislature, and there's some movement in that thing. But I just wanted you to know that's one of those curveballs that came to me and all of a sudden and trying to work our way through this. So that's my latest thing from the law department. As much fun as we had there. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions for Mr. Moore? All right. And we will move on to second readings of ordinances and resolutions. We do have one of those. That is an ordinance providing for the submission of the question, shall a commission be chosen to frame a charter to a vote of the qualified electors of the city of Norwood and providing for the election of charter commission members at the regular municipal election to be held November 3rd, 2026, and declaring an emergency. Mrs. Bowling.
I move that we have the second reading.
Motion by Mrs. Bowling to have the second reading of the ordinance. Mr. Gurton.
Second the motion.
Seconded by Mr. Gurton. Any discussion? Mr. Gurton.
I've been thinking about the charter question for a while now. It's been in committee for months as we've been prepping for this. My biggest concern is that this is a resident-led initiative, and right now I'm not seeing a lot of support from residents for this. I've been kind of beating the bushes and trying to have a lot of conversations about this. I've had a few people that are potentially interested in running on the commission, because part of the issue is if we vote and say, yes, let's put this on the ballot, at the same exact ballot, we have to have 15 people minimum who will run for the commission. Long story short, what I'd like to propose, or what I'm going to do, is ask for any resident that is very passionate about this to come speak at the next meeting, or to inundate us with emails so that we understand if there is commitment from residents about this issue. If we do not get that, I will motion to table this on the third reading. So I just wanted to put that out there in the public meeting. That is, I mean, I'm open to changing my opinion on this, but that is currently where I stand.
Thank you. Mrs. Franzen.
I also had a concern with the charter committee, both along the lines of getting people to be a part of it and also getting enough education out there. Although I support it, I think we talked about this at the committee of the whole. There's a worry that having so many, not only levies, but also this on the ballot could lead to a bit of voter fatigue, as far as needing to understand and process a lot of information. But I'm open to keeping going on a November ballot if there's a big groundswell of support. If not, it might be worthwhile to think about moving it to the May ballot of next year, so we have more time that is not also taken up by talking to people about the renewal levy and potentially a streets levy. That would be one concern, but obviously I want to make sure that everyone is here before we make any decisions.
Thank you. Mrs. Hoover.
I'll say I support that idea. I'm sorry that Mr. Province isn't here. I know that he was sort of championing this, if you will, because of the sense from residents that they wanted it. I know I've shared on Committee of the Whole, I think a charter is a great idea, but right now, for me, this is not the moment. So I would support that. I do think it's a good idea, but I feel like the timing isn't great. So, if we don't have a whole bunch of people that say, yes, let's do it right now, I would support tabling it as well.
Any other discussion? Motion on the floor is by Mrs. Bowling, seconded by Mr. Gurton, is to have the second reading of the ordinance. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gurton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Please have the second reading of the ordinance.
Ordinance providing for the submission of the question, shall a commission be chosen to frame a charter to a vote of the qualified electors of the city of Norwood, and providing for the election of charter commission members at the regular municipal election to be held on November 3rd, 2026, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Moving on to introductory readings of ordinances and resolutions. The first is an ordinance amending Chapter 1705 of the Norwood Codified Ordinances, formerly entitled Boarding Homes, to address recovery housing residences and make other updates. Mrs. Bowling.
I move that we have the first reading of the ordinance.
Motion by Mrs. Bowling to have the first reading of the ordinance. Mr. Moore.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Moore. Any discussion? Mr. Gurton.
Yes, as Ms. Hoover just said, Mr. Province isn't here tonight, something came up. I would hope that I was hoping he would be here to be able to kind of summarize this, but if I may, can I put Mr. Moore on the spot to just kind of summarize? Well, let me pause and say, the Law and Ordinance Committee has had this before it for more than almost a year now, and we've taken a lot of action in the last couple of months. And so it seems like there have been problems with certain recovery homes in Norwood that we're trying to address. And if Mr. Moore could kind of summarize what this ordinance does.
Mr. Moore.
Thank you. Primarily, the idea is to address sober houses, and the way, like, we have on our books, and it used to be actually done, but the health department, if you're going to have a nursing home in Norwood, you register with the health department and you supply them some information and they can come and inspect it. And my thought was, when I found that ordinance, that, well, let's add recovery housing. And so, which is what the state calls sober houses. And the issue we've had is the way state law works now is you can open one up, you can file your application with the state and then open one up. You don't have to be approved by the state yet. You don't have to be inspected by the state yet. You can do that. And we had at least one that had 12 people in a single family house. There were all kinds of problems. There was no monitoring. And so this is just kind of a way to require, hey, if you're here and this is what you're doing, you need to register with the health department so we know who you are, who the responsible people are, what organization is funding you, or what agency has licensed you. And that's really all it is for the most part. There are some other changes in here. For example, it says health department. We don't have a health department. We have a board of health. There were some information requirements that would be a violation of HIPAA kind of things. It was really an overstep. We don't need to know the medications of everybody in a particular nursing home, for example, kind of thing. But that was the idea. At least it's a way for us to know who is moving in and who isn't. And if they aren't moving in, then if they aren't following this, if they just move in and we don't tell us, it's a way for us to put them on our radar so we can make sure, no, you need to file with the building department, you got to get a certificate of occupancy, you got to get a fire inspection, that kind of thing. So that's at least the thinking behind it. And the committee discussed for a while, went through a number of drafts, or a few drafts, and this is what you get at the end of that.
Mrs. Bowling.
Thank you, Mr. President. This came before us that residents brought to our attention in October of last year. It's not quite a year, but quite a few months. It's been going on for a long time. We are in a former term, which is saying a lot, I think. And thank you very much to those residents for their patience and sticking with us through this process, and to Mr. Moore, absolutely, because this has gone through quite a few edits. This kind of works in tandem with the Planning Commission resolution that we saw 4 weeks ago, sometime in recent history, in order to in no way really restrict the existence of recovery housing in Norwood. It is certainly a necessary service that we would like to have in the city, but to just have a better monitoring of where they are located and to ensure that they are treating people well and providing the services that they should be providing. So these two things sort of go hand in hand, but both of them will provide a much needed update. So thanks to everyone for all of your help through this lengthy process.
Any further discussion? All right, motion on the floor by Mrs. Bowling, seconded by Mr. Moore, is to have the first reading of the ordinance. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Girton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Please have the first reading of the ordinance.
Ordinance amending Chapter 1705 of the Norwood Codified Ordinances, formerly entitled Boarding Homes, to address recovery housing residences and make other updates.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is an ordinance of the City of Norwood, Ohio, authorizing non-union pay rates. Mr. Girton.
Make a motion that we suspend the rules and have all 3 readings of the ordinance.
Motion by Mr. Girton to suspend the rules and have all 3 readings of the ordinance. Mrs. Hoover.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Hoover. Any discussion? Mrs. Hoover.
I was wondering if Ms. Lori could come up and talk with us about what this entails.
Happy to. We've brought several in my 2 years here now, one at a time updates to our salary ordinance. I've been working on a full overhaul of it as far as numbers, market, and this is the final product of that. So it's based on market research. Also, if you remember, every time we pretty much hire a director, we've had to bring it to you. This is kind of in line where we've been bringing those numbers to you. So instead of having to bring that, it is really in the line of the numbers we've made with hire directors at that level. So it touches all of them. And then our overhaul will be much less, and we will review it yearly.
Mr. Moore.
Thank you. Could you comment on how this document fits into the FRP and whether or not these numbers are baked into what we passed a couple months ago?
These have no impact on budget because all the current people sitting in these positions are at these salaries, around these salaries within that range. It's just going to allow us to retain employees and put out when we have, say, an open position like Phillips or deputy, a range that we could attract better. But it is not going to impact the budget in any way. These are already baked into those numbers.
Already baked in. Thank you.
Mrs. Franklin.
Thank you for your work on this, and I'm glad to see that this will give us a little more flexibility. And I know retention and attracting good candidates has been an issue for a lot of positions in the past, and I hope that will reduce that issue in the future. So I think I'm in full support of passing this tonight.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? All right, thank you. The motion on the floor by Mr. Girton, seconded by Mrs. Hoover, is to suspend the rules and have all three readings of the ordinance. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Girton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Please have all three readings of the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Norwood, Ohio authorizing non-union pay rates, an ordinance of the City of Norwood, Ohio authorizing non-union pay rates, and an ordinance of the City of Norwood, Ohio authorizing non-union pay rates.
Thank you. Mrs. Franzen.
I move we pass the ordinance.
Motion by Mrs. Franzen to pass the ordinance. Mrs. Bowling.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bowling. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Girton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Next item is a resolution declaring the necessity to levy an additional tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for general construction, reconstruction, resurfacing, and repair of streets, roads, and bridges in the city of Norwood, and requesting the county auditor to certify matters in connection therewith and declaring an emergency. Mrs. Franzen.
I move we suspend the rules and have all three readings.
Motion by Mrs. Franzen to suspend the rules and have all three readings of the resolution. Mrs. Hoover.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Hoover. Any discussion? Mr. Moore.
Commissioner, I was wondering if I could actually ask the commissioner. I know you mentioned the children's services levy earlier. Are you aware of any other levies that will or are in consideration for being on the ballot in November? Just if I'm kind of putting my resident hat on and thinking about what all might be on there.
Yeah, so this is what I understand to be true, because the deadline has not passed, so we really don't know. Affecting, and the city of Cincinnati, I think, is not going to put an income tax on, but I'm not sure of that, but that's not relevant to you all. The schools would be the other one. And so I know the schools are debating whether or not they should put something on the ballot this year. They have not concluded that conversation, so I don't know if they're going to do it or not. But we all have the same deadline. And so we will know short enough what else is going to be on. But I will guarantee you that something related to children's services will be on.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any further discussion? Mr. Gardner.
I think just to recap, we had a conversation in the committee of the whole. Something I think is just important to do a little bit of math here. The 1 mil levy, as was mentioned a little bit earlier tonight, is a $615,000 a year levy, $1,615,000. Did I say that correctly?
615.
615.
Yeah, 615. Thank you.
It's been a long day. It's a long day.
So the issue with that is it doesn't really do a lot for our streets. And we've talked about the kind of emotional impact of putting a levy on and asking people to raise taxes for this. And then we really wouldn't be able to do a lot with that. We wouldn't be able to make a big impact visually with that amount of money per year. And so the conversation in Committee of the Whole was, let's put a 2 mil levy on, because that would give us the ability to it would be $1.2 million at that point, which would average out to about $200 per Norwood home. The average Norwood home is just under $300,000, and so this would be $200 per household. In essence, we would raise taxes. So anyways, the conversation is that we could not only maintain our current situation of streets with that funding, but we would be able to make advances and improve the situation of streets, not just maintaining them. On a personal note, I'm voting for this tonight. I still don't know how I'm going to vote for the initial or the final measure to send it to the ballot. I think the economy is really rough right now. $200 would be an impact on my family. And so I'm cognizant of that, and I think there are other people that are less fortunate than I. So anyways, I want to give the context for why I think we should be advancing this part of it, but I'm still undecided about advancing the final ballot measure.
Thank you. Mrs. Franzen.
Yeah, I think the consensus is we do want to do a levy, and whether this is the right timing or not, if we do a levy, then I think a 2 mil would actually give us what we would need. It wouldn't necessarily be worth spending the political capital to just do a 1 mil levy. So I'm still pretty pro putting this on the November ballot, but I totally see the other side. It is asking our citizens to give us more money, and the results, even if we move as quickly as possible, will not be instant. It'll be months or a year before any street would be repaved using this fund. So I still think that we should give ourselves the option to do it as a 2 mil levy if we decide to do it in November, or if we don't, it's still good to have the 2 mil instead of the 1.
Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do think, as far as doing the process to have the option, that we should go ahead and do that. I personally question, sort of the ultimate timing of this. And I want to actually call back to Laura Ryan, who spoke earlier tonight in talking about the plan and sort of the transparency to residents on sort of what is the plan. I think we have a great document now from GPD. I do think that in terms of like public trust, to act on GPD's recommendation to sort of put together a capital improvements plan, specific to streets, that's itemized, so on and so forth. So we can say, hey, our good faith intention is these are getting maintained in this year, these are getting reconstructed, et cetera. And, acknowledge that opportunistically we might shift the plan a little bit. I think that's okay, but I do think to have a document like other communities do that residents can go in and see it, I think that would go a long way. And I'm sort of not sure if we're going to get that in the next 4 months. And so for me, again, I'm talking a little bit around here, but I think that is a very important, transparent public trust piece, is that follow up on the GPD recommendation to create that capital improvement plan.
Mrs. Huber.
I'd also just like to share, and I wish the resident had stayed, because I wanted to correct her that it's not a 10 mil levy, it's a, 1 or now 2. And I do think that there's a lot of uncertainty out there. I remember when I first got on council 5 years ago, I didn't understand how streets were done, and there was the myth that if you're on council, you get your street paved. And I will say yet again, that's currently not accurate. My street has a pothole. The mayor has a pothole in front of his house. I'm sure it's going to be. They fixed it. They fixed it.
My street is a pothole.
Yeah.
I live on a
Point
failed
being,
street.
At this point in Norwood's, that is not happening. But it is so complex in terms of how the streets are selected and how, however, I think you're right. There's definitely pockets of, these are the streets that have to be redone. These are the ones that can do with a slurry coat. These are, potholes. We definitely have those sort of categories. I don't think we have the capacity to go down to street by street because this street might need new water pipes. This one might need, this one you can't access any federal funding for, so there's so many different factors that come into play. I do think that we could do a better job of showing that to residents. I would also encourage folks to watch the housing meeting where there was the presentation by GDP, as well as we had an open house. And it was better attended than the open house that Emily did a few years ago, which is unfortunate because it was great information. But even then, there were, 20 people? And everybody complains about the roads in Norwood. I'm happy, and I plan, unless something happens, to put this on the November ballot because residents keep saying, fix the roads, fix the roads, fix the roads. The only way we're going to do that with any reasonable momentum is if we have a levy. If they don't pass a levy, okay, I drive pretty slow. I've never had a flat tire on Norwood roads, but I also drive 25 miles an hour. So not saying that all rims are from poor driving, but if the residents want better roads, then that's what it's going to take. And no harm, no foul. If the residents say we don't want it, it's not worth it. Okay, but that's the way. There's no magical money hiding in the water department that we are funneling off for something else. The money is where it is. So I believe we should do a 2 mil. Actually, later I want to show a graphic that I've been working on because I think we need to do a really good job of educating our voters about what it is and what it looks like and correcting misconceptions and explaining how the process works. Because I think that when people have that information, then they can make educated decisions.
Mrs. Franzen.
Yep. And I'm happy to, now that I have a little more time, I was going to try to do more of like those open house educational stuff for people. So keep your eyes open for that. Since I already have kind of a PowerPoint and now we have updated information, I figure regardless of whether it gets on the ballot or not, more people need to know more about streets. And just like with everything in the city, outreach and education is in need of improvement and an ongoing process. So I'll figure out what days, months, etc. I can do stuff like that. I was hoping maybe to do like a monthly thing leading up to the election if we end up putting it on the ballot.
Mr. Gardner.
Thank you for that, Mrs. Hoover. You spurred on a couple of thoughts that I wanted to follow up with about the roads meeting that we had here in Chambers and the one at the community center. So a couple of things that happened in my small group. Some questions were asked that I didn't get brought up in the whole of the conversation. And so I think the administration has been excellent the last couple of years about making huge progress on our streets. The problem, though, is that they have not maxed out, but we've kind of maxed out the potential to get federal dollars because we've done all of our main thoroughfares that are, kind of state highways and whatnot. And so the GPD or GPD, whichever the name of the company, one of the things they brought up to us is that money has kind of run out now, and the roads that we need to focus on are local roads that depend on local dollars. And so there really is nobody coming to save us. And the only way forward, I mean, you make a really good point, is a street levy. And like I said, $200 a year is going to make a difference on me, but I also think about, I probably spend $200 a year on average repairing my vehicle from just, maintenance issues. And so I'm either going to be spending that on, one way or the other. But the big number is it's going to take $27 million of last year's dollars, adjusted for inflation, to address all of our roads. So we're talking $30 to $40 million by the time all of this gets done. So we don't have any other person coming to save us. We don't have any other pocket of money that's coming to, kind of line our streets. I think the administration is still going to do everything they can to get better loans and grants, but we really are, this is kind of self-sufficient time that we need to figure out how to take care of ourselves.
Yep.
Mrs. Franzen.
Yep, and I will note, and as was noted in the Streets, Housing and Health Committee report, since we are under fiscal emergency, the other avenue by which we could get money, which is issuing bonds, is not an option for us. So that is a way other communities can finance it. I think I'm correct. That's what I've been told. So that's kind of our only other avenue that we have for local roads, that we don't have it.
Any other discussion? Motion on the floor by Mrs. Franzen, seconded by Mrs. Hoover, is to suspend the rules and have all three readings of the resolution. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Please have all three readings of the resolution.
Resolution declaring the necessity to levy an additional tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for general construction, reconstruction, resurfacing, and repair of streets, roads, and bridges in the city of Norwood, and requesting the county auditor to certify matters in connection therewith and declaring an emergency. Resolution declaring the necessity to levy an additional tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for general construction, reconstruction, resurfacing, and repair of streets, roads, and bridges in the city of Norwood, and requesting the county auditor to certify matters in connection therewith and declaring an emergency. Resolution declaring the necessity to levy an additional tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for general construction, reconstruction, resurfacing, and repair of streets, roads, and bridges in the city of Norwood, and requesting the county auditor to certify matters in connection therewith and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Mr. Gerton.
Make a motion to pass the resolution.
Motion by Mr. Gerton to pass the resolution. Mrs. Hoover.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Hoover. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Next item is a resolution designating June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth Independence Day in the city of Norwood. Mrs. Franzen.
I move we suspend the rules and have all three readings.
Motion by Mrs. Franzen to suspend the rules and have all three readings of the resolution. Ms. Sullivan.
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Please have all three readings of the resolution.
Resolution designating June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth Independence Day in the city of Norwood. Resolution designating June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth Independence Day in the city of Norwood. Resolution designating June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth Independence Day in the city of Norwood.
Thank you. Mrs. Hoover.
I move we pass the resolution.
Motion by Mrs. Hoover to pass the resolution. Mr. Moore.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Moore. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. The next item is a resolution declaring June 2026 to be Pride Month in the city of Norwood. Mrs. Bowling.
I motion that we suspend the rules and have all three readings of the resolution.
Motion by Mrs. Bowling to suspend the rules and have all three readings of the resolution. Mrs. Franzen.
I second.
Seconded by Mrs. Franzen. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Please have all three readings of the resolution.
Resolution declaring June 2026 to be Pride Month in the City of Norwood. Resolution declaring June 2026 to be Pride Month in the City of Norwood. Resolution declaring June 2026 to be Pride Month in the City of Norwood.
Thank you. Ms. Sullivan.
I move that we pass the resolution.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan to pass the resolution. Mrs. Bowling.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bowling. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Moving on to unfinished business. Mr. Moore.
Perhaps I might buy Council Member Hoover a moment here. I know that 2 weeks from now, we have a number of public hearings on the agenda. I'm wondering, in addition to the other ways that we market those public hearings, if you might offer a brief reminder about what those are in case anybody wants to show up and be heard.
Yes, I have to look them up. I know we have the Dora district in Factory 52. We have the city tax budget. Coding, zoning regarding,
We have zoning regarding group homes or adult, I forget, whatever the change of the name is to that. We've got
Residential.
short-term rental, change to the zoning, and, geez, what was the other? I know there was another zoning one, but I think there's two more zoning ones maybe, but.
Four sounds like the right number.
Oh, and changes, I'm sorry, and changes to the PUD process to get rid of council approval of final plans. And adding a definition of green space or open space. Yeah. I think that's it.
that's enough.
Thank you.
And to follow up Mr. Moore's discussion on that, just as a reminder, for each public hearing, there is an opportunity for those to come and speak in favor or against any or each of those items. Each public hearing will be opened and closed separately, so it isn't going to be all in one. And each item will be considered separate from the other. Any other unfinished business? Mrs. Hoover.
I'm wondering if you might be able to bring up my slideshow after I finally figured out how to download it, maybe. It was a group effort, Mrs. Franzen, super helpful. It's the one, it doesn't say new, but it's the PDF.
That'd be this one. 6, 9.
Yes. 6,
Yes.
9.
Yes.
Groovy. Thank you so much. All right, the first one is the community composting. And I brought show and tell, because that's my favorite thing to do. Norwood, thank you very much, Commissioner Dreehouse. We did get a grant from Hamilton County to do a year of free community composting in Norwood. So you can pick up one of these gorgeous buckets for free at the Board of Health. Check out the sticker I made. I did that, I designed that. I'm starting a new business.
Does it come with the bucket?
What?
Does it come on the bucket?
Yes,
Or
it
is that
comes
an
on.
aftermarket?
No, it
edition?
oh, no, I put this on.
So if I go get one, will it have that sticker?
It will have the Norwood compost
Amazing.
sticker,
Thank
as
you.
well as all the items that you can compost for free for a year. And our numbers this month, this is June, May. May numbers were 579 pounds of food scraps. And we're up to 50 signups. And we have one resident who already had like 10 drop-offs. So I'm going to start stalking her. Very excited about that. So please share. This is super exciting. Most communities have to pay for this, and this is a really lovely thing that we're doing for folks to get them excited and engaged. Of course, I want to mention See, Click, Fix right now. It is the spring. Everyone's having tall grass. Everyone's having weeds overtake. This is the best way to communicate information to the city, and I'm just going to leave that slide up there forever because it's a really, really super useful tool. Then the mini hub, sorry, I thought I did it as a PDF, seriously.
I mean, a PowerPoint. It's a PDF.
It's a PDF.
Oh, okay. So that's why it's like that. All right. So the mini hub, the next dates for that will be June 16 and 17. This is also with some funding from Hamilton County. Thank you again. You can take your hard to recycle plastics there. I recently took 2 giant garbage bags full of styrofoam, old prescription bottles, empty, all of your Kroger bags, the film that you put your fruit in, all of that stuff is recyclable, clean, dry. You can take it there, and Carolyn, who's with the Board of Health, she will help you sort it if you would like. That's what I do. I kind of take it all in one big bag and sort it out. I did not get our numbers, but this is really starting to take off. So this is super exciting. If people are interested in volunteering, we can really take it to the next level. So just know that that's happening and going around. And then the next, I found this really great picture of Chief Sumner. He's the second police chief I've had the privilege of working under or with. Really just a lovely human being. And I love this picture of him. This was at one of the trunk retreats, which he always came to. He was always so quick with a smile, so thoughtful, so engaging, such a deep, deep love of Norwood. I wasn't able to be here for his retirement, but we were texting, and he promised that he will come back once his farm is up and running and sell some of his wares at our off-Pike market. So he will be back. You can't get too far from Norwood. So just really congratulations to the chief.
Any other unfinished business? Mrs. Franzen?
Yes, this is relevant to the discussion we had at the committee of the whole meeting last week. So there was a question of, with using the cannabis funds, if we put them in a fund, in a capital fund, if that was not dedicated only to streets, how do funding agencies account for that as far as giving us points or giving us better consideration? I didn't see that very well, but basically, one of the things that Norwood does not have is a dedicated fund with ongoing increases in, like, ongoing funding that would be just for streets. And that gives us a better chance of getting some of these grants or other sources of funding. And I talked to Mr. Powers, and he said that in general, a fund like that would have to be committed solely to stuff within the right of way. That could be the streets, it could also be the sidewalks or utilities. So I just wanted to give everyone that information since it was asked last week.
Thank you. Mrs. Hoover?
Was there a dollar amount he gave?
It was not a dollar amount so much as if there is a fund that you would say you are using as a source of funding for your streets, it would have to be committed completely to streets. In that case, if you were using it as a source of ongoing funding.
Mrs. Hoover?
So clarifying question, sorry. So are you saying that, okay, my assumption is we still can divide it into 2 categories, and one could be the streets, and one could be...
Correct. So,
Mrs. Franz?
Yeah, sorry. Yes, correct. So if that's the way we wanted to go, potentially you could have 2 different capital funds. In order to count for the esoteric funding formula that all of these government agencies use, whatever fund we said would be used as a source of funding would have to be solely committed to streets projects.
Got it.
That does not mean that all of the cannabis funding has to go into that fund, but it could mean that all of it can. That is just information for everyone to have.
Thank you. Any other unfinished business? Any new business? Mrs. Hoover?
Oh, thank you. Sorry that Ms. Patterson is gone. Here is the Juneteenth flyer. Really, she's held this or coordinated this every year for the last 5 years. She does a phenomenal job. We're so lucky to have community members who take these on because these are huge commitments. So there's the flyer up for folks to take a look at. The next thing, everyone is aware of the horrifying murder that happened last week. And I imagine everyone up here has been impacted by this. We all knew Allie or knew of her. And as horrifying as this experience has been, Norwood continues to be Norwood, and Norwood is showing up in such beautiful and lovely ways. Skyline Chili is doing a fundraiser where 20% of their sales for the week of June 8th to 15th will go into a fund that will directly benefit Allie's children. Skyline Chili has already donated $25,000. Coca-Cola has also donated $25,000. There are also 2 GoFundMes out for her. One is connected with Skyline, and one is by her friends and her close friends. People have been sort of coalescing around Skyline in a really lovely way, sort of wrapping the store, the restaurant with some needed love. And I also know that like on Pleasant Ridge community, they said we have to go and show Norwood that we care. And so that it's as awful and horrifying as that is, and as devastating as this is for her family. I also just want to point out that there are opportunities for us to take action and support the family. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything about that. I hesitate to call what happened to Allie domestic violence. However, that has raised a lot of people having questions about what are the services available. I'm a social worker. I don't know if folks know that, but I cut my teeth working with survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault from when I was in high school, frankly. And Women Helping Women is an amazing organization here in Cincinnati. I actually hadn't been on their website in a hot minute, but when I went on there, it is such a great website. It has right on there safety features. So if you are in an active domestic situation, and it might not be safe to Google shelters, that there are, even when it's up on your screen, you can press an escape button and everything disappears. So there's a lot of safety features built in, but they have a ton of programming for both survivors as well as prevention services, 24/7 support. So just know that that exists in the community. And then the next slide, Joe, is it's about domestic violence. Everyone in this room knows someone who has been touched by domestic violence. It is a very So just know that those are some services out there for folks. Thank you. Oh. And then changing energy quickly. Norwood is having their summer picnic. I was able to go last year. Unfortunately, I'm out of town this year. It's a lovely time. It is co-sponsored with the Norwood Police, the Norwood Fire Department, Norwood Together. They grill out. It's fun. The food was great. Great conversations. So it's free. Come check it out this Saturday at Lower Millcrest from 11 to 2. And this is this little brainchild I have that I would really love for us to start doing a stronger job of communicating to our residents what is on our agenda. I'm grateful that Norwood Television has started now printing, posting our agenda. It's not very visually appealing. It's a lot of words. It's a lot of, the minutes and the more details of the ordinance. So a lot of communities do this. It took me a couple hours to do the Canva, but 5 minutes to add the information. It's literally just the guts, if you will, of our agenda. And it's something that I would like for council to discuss as a thing that we could try to put out. I want to see if maybe that's something that the city would put on their website or their Facebook page. But want folks to just take a look at it. It has the main information, and then for more information, you can go and read the full agenda in all its nitty-gritty details. But I thought that would be a really great way to have people have a better sense of what's going on at the city. I also just kind of want to get people's feedback. If you think that's a cool idea, that's the worst idea you ever heard, let's do it.
Is this an item you would like to place in one of the committees?
I'm wondering if it's something that we can just do. I'm wondering if we are all here, if we can just make a decision, if this is something that, or does it need to go into committee?
My recommendation would be placing it in the committee if there is going to be some overlap with some of the administration employees so that we can have that feedback from Mayor Schneider or Mr. Powers. Mayor Schneider.
I would say you already have an official agenda that goes out through the sunshine list and all that. If this doesn't coincide with that, do we put the city into a problem area? If you want to update or improve the agenda that's sent out, I would make improvements to it and make sure that's the official agenda for the meeting. But I wouldn't be an advocate for having two separate documents that go out that could conflict, and then people are getting maybe mixed information. Just try to keep it all together and improve upon what you have.
Mrs. Super.
I would say it's apples and oranges. One is easy on the eyes, bullets, this is what's going on. The agenda, I don't think the agenda needs to be improved. What this doesn't have on it are the things that the residents aren't going to care about. And this is something that wouldn't necessarily go out to all the sunshine rules, but this would be something that would be accessible on the website. And it could be pulled from the agenda that when it goes out on Friday. And again, if there are changes for the full agenda and more information, there would be the website.
Mr. President.
There.
So you're basically saying the Reader's Digest condensed version of it. But I think maybe you need to have a disclaimer on there saying to see the full agenda, go here, which that makes absolute sense to me. I agree with reading it. That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Mr. Moore.
I was just going to suggest that, like, here's some agenda highlights, just like that would be the way, that would be one way to differentiate.
Mrs. Dolan.
I love this. I've like preached accessibility over and over again, and I think this plays to that well. I think an easy swap could be changing it from like Norwood Council agenda to Norwood Council topics or council meeting topics or discussions, or if we want to, avoid having overlapping agendas or confusing agendas, we could change the name so that it is not an agenda. I think having quick at a glance Reader's Digest version that just says, here's the topics that we're covering tonight would be really beneficial.
Mrs. Hoover.
Do folks think that it should go into committee for further discussion? Or is it something we could just move forward on?
Mrs. Franzen.
It seems like it's pretty easy to do. Just take the highlights of the agenda and have it be a social media post. I think for me, I would love to just post this just on my personal Facebook page, just so people have a better idea of what's going on in a slightly more digestible form. Whether it needs to go to committee or not, it just, like Mr. Gears or Mr. Moore said, depends on if one in the administration would need to be involved, or if this was just like a simple copy paste. It may not be that serious.
Any other opinions on the matter being placed into a committee and/or which committee, if so? Mrs. Hoover.
I will just give my full opinion. I would love if this is something that Ms. Goins could do as part of her clerk responsibilities. Again, the formatting took me a hot minute, and I'm not saying I'm married to this, but literally putting in the information took less than 5 minutes. So to me, it's not a heavy lift. And in terms of administration, my thought would be we could just email it over to Mr. Powers and say, could you please post this? And he could even say, posted on behalf of Norwood Council, because council does not have our own social media.
Thoughts, discussion? Mrs. Franzen?
Seems easy to me. I mean, it's easy for me to say that because I just get to look at it and then hit share, but it seems easy.
Ms. Sullivan?
I think this makes it pretty digestible. I know when I first moved to Norwood, and I was trying to figure out what is city council and what do they do and things like that, and I would look at the agendas, and sometimes I didn't really know what exactly, was going on. So I think this makes it pretty accessible for people. I think if it did go to committee, possibly eco, but I'm a fan of this. Oh, Engagement, Communication, and Outreach Committee. Mhm.
Mrs. Bowen?
Thank you, Mr. President. Are we allowed to ask our clerk how she feels about the added workload?
Yes, you may. Ms. Goins?
I think this is incredibly easy to do. I think that for it to be maybe a little bit more official, if there was a way in which we could have it branded potentially, and actually have Norwood's colors behind it, so it kind of resonates with the agenda. And maybe this is where we potentially, I don't know if this is even an option, but like, do we work with a student from Xavier or UC to design the Canva, and then like it's just a template to, then I would just have to change. I mean, I don't have great Canva skills, but I'm working on that.
Mrs. Huber?
I'd like to say these are the Norwood colors. I also had a red little thing on there, and I had the city logo, but I removed it because I wasn't sure if that was, I didn't want to claim it quite yet. But I agree with branding. That's something that Mrs. Bowling has also talked about. I think that would be really good to have. I texted you my first draft. Whew, that was also city colors. That was really bad on the eyes.
It was incredible.
Thank you.
Mrs. Bowen?
Yes, I'll be bringing a mocked-up branding deck to the next eco committee. So if you would like that, I think it's something the city could benefit from and would be incredibly easy to put together. But I agree. I think if you're comfortable with it, I would love to just move forward with it. And I think once there's a template established, it should be easy to just punch everything in.
Mr. Moore?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Engagement, Communication, and Outreach Committee would be the logical spot. As the chair of that committee, I don't think we need to, dwell on it. I do appreciate your point, Mr. Mayor, on kind of the clarity on, not having them be conflicting. I think there's some minor formatting kinds of things like the time or the location or even the dimensions of the posts to be like optimized for social media, real estate, but otherwise directionally, I think it's a helpful thing.
Ms. Goins?
My only ask is from the Canvas side of things of like the licensing. So would it be okay to use personal Canvas, or would the city need to purchase?
Mrs. Bowling?
I think I can answer that question, but probably that's a lawyer question, honestly. The vast majority of Canva is like open use, unless you are using pro content. None of this would be anything that was considered anything aside from open use. So I can't imagine there would be any kind of licensing issue unless you were using a pro piece, which you wouldn't need to. This is pro? I didn't mean that to sound judgy. I'm so sorry. I feel
That's
very
almost out of
equivalent
order.
pieces available
Yes.
in pro or no pro.
All right. So, decision is not to place it into any committee and have Ms. Goins continue to work with, I'm going to say Mrs. Hoover, on formatting, and if you want this not to be in Canva, I can be a real nerd in PowerPoint to create templates as well, which we should have a license for also on our city laptops. All right. What? Anything else under new business?
Is there one more down?
Yeah, I got a couple more.
Oh, sorry.
I got more than 5 minutes. Oh, but if you want to go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say that we should put the solicitor license issue into Law and Ordinance Committee before we forget. I think we had probably already planned to do that. In my mind, it was already there, but we
All
need to
right, so
officially
we
do
will
it.
note that the solicitor license has been placed into the Law and Ordinance Committee. Mrs. Hoover.
Sorry, thank you. This is another thing that I was playing around with. I took all of the information from GDP Group and put it together with some of the information about the levy to create like an information sheet. This has a ton of information in it. I did share it with a few, younger folks, and they said, and I quote, way too many words. I would love for us to have a conversation about how the best way to get the information out to the voters. I thought this was an interesting idea. I'm not saying this is where we should go. I think actually I have those little squares that talk about what percentage of roads are good or poor, bad, and fair. And maybe instead of that could be the graph that says what 1 mil does, what 2 mil does, what 3 million do, rather. I shouldn't say mil because that gets confusing. So people could see that with more money, how much more we can do. But I think that, and I mentioned this in the committee of the whole, I think it's going to be our job to educate voters, and I think it would be helpful to have something to give them that, and as we said, something that is fact-based, 1.2 million, 27 million, or is it 27?
Yeah.
Right, okay. 76% of our roads need work. So something really tangible that we can give to people. And on here, it does talk about how that funding would work. It talks about, it answers a lot of the questions that, for example, the resident brought up about, do we use grants? Oh, you better believe we use grants. We go for every penny. Mr. Powers and Mr. Zimmerman do an amazing job squeezing every opportunity. So I would love for us to figure out how we could sort of massage this and make sure that the information is correct, that the information is user-friendly, and maybe we throw this away and we do something different. But I think we need to have something to give to residents so they have a comprehension of what's going on. And then sort of attached to that, I need to reschedule our next streets meeting because I'm out of town. And I would love for us to have a conversation and invite residents in. So now they've been to, potentially, they've seen one of the videos, or they've been at one of the meetings. They came to the open house or they watched the open house. Now let's have a conversation about, okay, so this is what needs to happen. How do you want it done? And having something like that for residents to have, I think might be helpful. So that's 2 things, sorry.
Mrs. Bowling.
Could we place this into Communications Committee?
If that is your desire, yes. Is that a statement to place this into?
Yes.
Versus Streets Committee?
I would think yes, because it is more surrounding how we are communicating the information to the public.
Sure.
They reported out. Mr. Moore, your hand was up.
Yeah, I did have a question for Law Director Moore. In thinking about getting this in the hands of several thousand people in the city of Norwood, what are the considerations around producing such a document?
Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. President. You can't use city funds or city employee time to promote a ballot issue one way or the other, or to promote somebody's election one way or the other. You can communicate with them, hey, this is the study we got, and the study says, here's what we need. And this is one alternative, is that there is to put a levy on it, it would cost this, this, and this. But you can't, it's a fine line on where you can go and where you can't go, and what you get in trouble for and what you don't. But as far as trying to get people to vote for anything, No city resources can be done for that.
So ultimately,
So if somebody wants to do postcards, city money ain't gonna pay for it. It's gonna be a separate campaign committee that's set up. I don't know if the old one for the renewal levy still exists. I don't think it does. There was one for the renewal levy for a long time. But city funds cannot be used for that, and city, like, employees cannot use city time, be paid by the city for time that they spend on any ballot issue or election.
So I guess as a follow-up to that, so let's say like the annual water report that goes out, that is let's say an unbiased factual document about the state of the city's water.
Correct.
Would an equivalent unbiased lawyer vetted document pass muster for that, or does there basically need to be a Norwood Streets Levy PAC formed that would fundraise for the printing cost of something like this?
If a government agency, if a government unit had suddenly decided that they wanted to do a mailing to everybody in the jurisdiction, not long before an election, that they wanted something to pass, I would be suspicious, and it would invite people to dig deeper and potentially make some kind of challenge there. And so I'm just saying that that kind of thing is asking for trouble.
Sure. Yeah, and you're our lawyer, so thank you.
Yeah.
Mrs. Huber.
I just wanted to clarify, I appreciate that question, but my time, I can walk around and share this information without a problem, correct? Any elected official can talk about that, correct?
That's correct.
Anything else on this item or any more new business? Mrs. Hoover.
Happy to have it go into communication. My question would be, when is the next communication meeting? Because I would love to have something for the for the streets meeting at the end of June. And I don't know if that's...
Mr. Moore.
Thank you. I think that your streets committee meeting is likely to happen sooner than the next scheduled engagement meeting.
Mrs. Hoover.
This is a question. I'm wondering if we can sort of split the difference perhaps, because I would love communications eyes and opinions. And us putting it into committee doesn't mean that I can't present some information at the streets meeting, correct? So we can put it into your committee, and I can have even something like this as a thing for residents to have. And then I can also give feedback from residents to the communication committee, and then you guys could fine tune it, or does that sound reasonable?
Sure.
And then I'd love to schedule the streets meeting. I was going to suggest either, the 24th, which is a Wednesday, or the 30th, which is the following Tuesday. Not remembering what is on.
Mr. Moore.
Just to respond to that, I could do the 24th. The other date is a problem due to family travel.
24th is fine.
Okay. I will put it on the agenda for the 24th at 6 p.m. Yeah, groovy. Thank you.
And if you can send all of that information to the clerk of council's office, they can get the posting and timing for the doors and everything.
Thank you.
Ms. Sullivan.
Could we do 6:30?
Probably.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other new business? Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. President. Coincidentally, Councilmember Hoover, I have been working on a similar document.
Oh my gosh.
Which is a sincerely unplanned coincidence. As I prepare to make my next comment, I have something that I think, a problem that has at least been true for me, and I won't pretend to be immune from having inflicted upon others in this way. Sometimes I think that I've seen people sort of work in parallel on similar things in the city, or within the council, we'll say. And I think it's all from a good place, from a sincere place of wanting to make a difference. But I worry a little bit about just like the coordination of that. And, you know, I'll be barking up a tree about something, and then I'm like, oh, there's a whole other thing over here, or there was a whole other meeting about this. And I'm wondering and looking for the group's input on, perhaps it's a recurring slide deck or something that's basically just like, what are you working on? Where we have the opportunity to just kind of note, like, you know, even though it's not necessarily like I'm not on the Parks Committee, but I'm working on Burwood. So there might be a Parks slide that just says like, the committee is doing this, and then other council members are ad hoc doing X, Y, or Z. And you could just kind of reference that, and it be a chance to avoid some of that friendly fire and repetition of efforts. And so I guess what I'm looking for feedback on is some sort of living document that would be updated perhaps in this unfinished business time of the council meeting that might just say, oh, Danielle is working on a Ward 4 community listening session, or Sam is working on a, I don't know, Millcrest Park thing, and that might help us all coordinate a little better as a body. So, yeah, just wanted to see if there was appetite for that, if there were any concerns from our folks who've been doing this a long time around the city. But I think that, at least in my mind, would be helpful for me. So,
Mrs. Suber.
I second that. I absolutely agree that our communication is not great, even though I feel like I try really hard to communicate, but I was surprised that you didn't know about the Ward 4 meeting. And I was surprised by, you know, something that Emily was doing, and it's sort of like, wait, but we're paying attention. How do these things? And I think it's, so I think trying to find some way to capture that would be great. I know one thing that Mr. Province and I talked about is what different communities do. And, oh my goodness, don't kill me, but they have an additional meeting called a workshop. And we talked about that in the committee of the whole, which is different than a committee of the whole meeting in that it's less formal. It's more about, hey, what are you working on? That's what you've got going on. Oh, I've got that information. So it's not televised, but it is open meetings. And one particular community, I really wanted to go, but it's 2.5 hours away, and they meet the same night we do. But their system is a little different. So they meet, I think maybe once a month to make votes, but twice a month for workshop. So there's a lot more of that conversation. So council meetings are shorter because they've already talked about this kind of thing in the workshop. So that would just sort of be one thought that I have for trying to capture some of that and creating a little more cohesion. But if there's a living document, I mean, I can't quite picture what that would look like, but I'm down for anything that would create better communication and cohesion, absolutely.
Any other new business? Mrs. Suber.
I want to talk about e-bike safety and perhaps putting it in committee. When did that happen? All these kids zipping around on the e-bikes, not following any traffic rules and not having helmets on. I find that very concerning, very worried about these little kiddos and their brains. I don't know if that would be under law or
streets.
Or streets?
Public safety is part of streets, isn't it?
Well, it's streets, housing, and health. Health. Well, health.
Versus law, ordinance, and public safety.
Public safety.
Well, whatever suits your fancy.
Safety.
Would you like to create a law surrounding it, or are you wanting to promote public information?
Just a friendly reminder that this is a regular council meeting, so
Sorry.
hands to address, please. Mrs. Sewer.
I would like for us to find a way to communicate to residents what the laws are. I would say there probably already exists legislation around it. It's a matter of probably getting the information to residents, because I don't even know that it's really a police matter. I think if a police sees something happening, they're gonna address it in the moment, but it's so, in the moment. So I'm not saying it's a police issue. So is that communications? Okay, I'll put it in streets. I will land on my own sword, so thank you.
All right. Any other new business? Okay, then we move on to communications. And this is a matter regarding the Division of Liquor Control and the objection to 369 Marathon LLC. Mr. Gurton.
Make a motion to receive and file the letter as if read.
And just to confirm.
Stating an objection has been overruled. It's not asking for us.
Noted. Mrs. Bowen.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bowen. Any discussion? Mrs. Huber.
I'm sorry, I'm wondering, because I read that and I was a little confused as to, it said that we rejected the license. Maybe that's a question for Mr. Moore, through the president.
Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the current or former owner of the Marathon liquor license has some issues with our tax department. Hasn't filed or hasn't paid. I think they haven't filed. And so council, on the record, on the request to the tax department, objected to the transfer of the liquor license. Generally, the transfer of a liquor license is, an objection will work if it's if the transfer will create a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare. It tends not to be, tax issues tend not to be the thing that stands up as a valid objection or is upheld as an objection. But we had the public hearing. We've had, Mr. Wagers has had more conversations with both the current and the newer owner on, hey, these are the things that have to get done. So we did make some progress there. But usually there have been times in the past when we've objected on this basis, and the person who wants to transfer it is like, I better get my house in order because I don't want this to drag out 3 or 4 or 5 months. And so they end up getting everything straightened away. That didn't quite happen here, but I think we at least got their attention on, hey, you actually have to file. You own a business in Norwood. You got to file tax returns. You got to file some taxes. So that's where we are. Is they denied they overruled our objection, and so the transfer is going to go through. Which in the grand scheme of things may work out better because presumably whoever's buying the license is going to have more money than the person who's selling it.
Mrs. Huber.
Do we know if the taxes have been handled?
Mr. Moore.
When I last spoke, I forwarded this to Mr. Wagers, was it last week? It had not, but there have been ongoing conversations on what needed to take place.
Any further discussion? Motion on the floor by Mr. Gurton, seconded by Mrs. Bowling, is to receive and file the communication as if read. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Gurton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. We do have one absent member this evening. Mr. Burton.
Make a motion to excuse Mr. Provin's absence.
Motion by Mr. Burton to excuse Mr. Provin's absence. Ms. Hoover.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Hoover. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Burton?
Yes.
Ms. Alvin?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Mrs.
I
Franzen.
move we adjourn.
Do we have a second? Mrs. Hoover.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Hoover. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Burton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
All members present voting yes, the motion carries. This meeting is hereby adjourned.